Tax refund secrets and deadlines that you need to know. Because at the end of the day, knowing the deadlines could save you from a big headache and extra fees during this year's tax season. So stick around to the end because you never know which date might be applicable to you. That being said, let's dive straight in. So tax season is back, obviously, and while some taxpayers may be looking forward to their refunds, others may be dreading the process of gathering their tax documents and meeting deadlines set by the IRS. So no matter how you feel about filing taxes, one thing is certain: missing a deadline during tax season can lead to penalties, unnecessary stress, and potential issues with the IRS. Now, if you stress about tax season and you know you don't want to do it yourself, it's a link below that gives you access to some experts that don't overcharge and position you to get educated in a way that you can maximize your refund, lower your tax liability, and remove some of that stress that you may have associated with this season. So each year, the tax season deadlines, they follow a similar schedule, but they shift a little bit, just so you'll know. So it may not be identical every year, obviously, just like the tax code shifts as well. And the more up to date you are on these things, the better you benefit. So that said, from the start of filing season to the final extension date, so knowing exactly what these dates are will help you stay ahead of the game and avoid last minute chaos or hefty fees. So whether you're an individual filer, self-employed, small business owner, it's important to mark your calendar with the crucial tax season dates, which I reveal. So to help you better navigate this tax year, basically, they put together a breakdown of critical tax deadlines, and I wanted to share with you. It came directly from the CBS News. I liked that it was broke down. Plus, I can show you different things that you can do to maximize your tax refund if you plug into our channel and understand what comes along with maximizing your refund by lowering your tax liability, by having the right records and getting the right amount of tax deduction. So whether you're expecting a refund or not, you want to avoid the IRS knocking on your door. So the below dates, are something that you want to commit to memory or at least save it into your calendar. So tax season 2025, all the deadlines taxpayers should know. So now we're getting into the deadline. So make sure you pay close attention because you never know which one is applicable to you or someone that you may know, and you can share this video with them as well. Taxpayers should keep in mind the following deadlines for this tax season. So January 15th, of course, this day has already passed, but this represents if a person is self-employed, they earn income that isn't subject to withholding. Your final estimated quarterly tax payment for 2024 was due on January 5th this year. This date has already passed, so if you missed it, it's important to make that payment as soon as possible to avoid penalties and stay on track with your tax obligation. So for those of you who are self-employed, it's good to pay attention to these dates, but it's great when you understand tax deductions that come along with being self-employed, because it positions you to not be the one who's liable to have to pay the taxes, because you have so many tax deductions that offset your tax liability and put you in a position to where you didn't have to pay. You can legally pay little to no taxes when you have a side business, side income, self-employed, etc., because of the tax deductions that come along with it. Very important. Now, the next date you need to know is January 31st, which has already passed. And this is for employers and businesses. They must send out the W-2 forms to employees. So if you have not received your W-2, then they were supposed to send it out by January 1st. And this also applies to the 1099s, which is non-employee compensation forms to independent contractors by this date. So if you've done independent contractor type work, you should have received your 1099. And basically this is non-employee compensation, and they send a non-employee compensation for a couple of different things, but specifically somebody who's not compensated as an employee, they're a contractor. So this should also be sent out, and the deadline has already passed, like we stated, but most taxpayers should receive their tax documents by early February. It's mid-February at the time of this recording, so you should have received this. If not, you should be receiving it very soon. So if you haven't received your documents yet, it may benefit you to reach out to your employer or the IRS for assistance. The next day, which is right here upon us, February the 18th. If you have investment income, real estate transactions, or miscellaneous income, your final institutions should provide the necessary 1099 forms by this date. These documents are crucial for accurate tax reporting, so be sure to keep an eye out for them. So this is very important for those of you with investment income, real estate transaction, miscellaneous income, etc. That way you know what you're up against. This is the big date that a lot of people know of, and it's a couple of things they left out about this date, but April 15th is a big one. And basically it says April 15th is the deadline to file your federal income tax return for 2024 unless you request an extension. It's also the deadline to pay any taxes owed to avoid late payment penalties and interest. So if you're making estimated payments for 2025, the first quarterly payment is also due on this date. So if you're the person who has a self-employed and you're not taxed on the front end and you're making those quarterly payments, then you want to make sure that you have your first quarterly payment in by this date. Also, they mentioned avoiding penalties and interest. So basically, if you're likely to owe, then this is the day you want to, have that payment sent out. Otherwise, you position yourself for fees and penalties. The thing that they did not mention, if you're basically contributing to your Roth IRA, a certain investments that you can make, you can invest up until this date, April 15th, and still benefited from it from the previous year. So that wasn't included in here, but that's good to know, because a lot of times when you're investing money, you're trying to max out certain investment accounts that have a maximum that you can put in it. And sometimes they give you a little leeway or a larger window that you can continue to invest and still benefit from it, even though the new year has started. So April 15th represents that date as well. Very important. June 17th, what is this? So June 17th is the filing deadline for U.S. citizens living abroad, including military personnel stationed outside the country. So they basically have a built-in extension since they're living abroad. These taxpayers automatically receive an additional 2 months to file without requesting an extension, though interest still applies to any unpaid tax after April 15th. So they get a built-in extension automatically. They're living abroad based on their situation. It's automatic unless they're likely to pay in taxes and the unpaid taxes, that basically the interest still applies to that if it's not done by April 15th. The next day, September 15th, 2025. September 15th is the third quarter estimated tax payment deadline for 2025 tax year. This affects those who are self-employed and taxpayers with significant non-wage income. So if it's significant income that doesn't come from a job, then, and you're prepaying your taxes, doing it quarterly, then September 15th is a day that you definitely want to make note of. October 15th, if you file an extension in April, the October 15th deadline is your last chance to submit your 2024 tax return. If you don't file by this deadline, it could result in paying extra fees and penalties to the IRS. So make sure you meet this deadline if you've been granted an extension. And if you need help like back filing, or you filed late, or you haven't reached these dates, there's a link below that gives you access to experts that can help with this as well. So definitely, even if you miss certain deadlines, which I don't recommend just because of the fees associated with it, and it's unnecessary for you to pay fees if you could have avoided it by getting access to the right help and the right solutions to whatever your problem may be. Now you can just access these experts, and now they're able to help you so that you can minimize the stress and realize that you're one of the ones who haven't filed, because you waited too late, or the previous year has passed and you're like, dang, I haven't filed for the past 2 years. So that link below can help you with that. But if you filed an extension October 15th, put that in your calendar, because you want to do it before this day. So the bottom line, filing your taxes is rarely fun, but staying on top of deadlines can prevent unnecessary penalties and stress. And whether you're filing early to claim a refund or need extra time to get your paperwork together, knowing these key dates will keep you on track. So be sure to set calendar reminders, double check your documents, and don't hesitate to seek help from a tax professional if needed, which I have a link below that can assist you, because a little preparation now can make tax season a lot smoother and even a little less painful. So that being said, these are some of the dates. Replay it, screenshot, whatever you have to do. Share this with somebody else who you feel may benefit. And if you want to maximize your refund legally by lowering your tax liability and understanding that you don't have to be overcharged fees just because you're getting a larger refund, which is what some tax preparers do, then I highly, strongly encourage you to consider looking at that link down below and getting access to our tax experts. They've been in the industry for 20 plus years, many of them, and they understand and are not afraid to apply the tax code, because it's one thing to tax prepare, but some people don't understand the tax code. That's one problem. And then some people are fearful to apply the tax code. That's another problem. So if you have a combination of those things, then you find yourself being in a position to where you're probably leaving money on the table due to lack of knowledge, or due to the fear of executing on the tax code that's put in place to help you keep more of your hard-earned money. So hopefully this video finds value in your space, and hopefully you tap into other videos where I'm breaking down different things that you need to be aware of in the area of taxes, credit, cash flow, etc. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.